Centaur, your kind of company.
Tonight on Ctv3 News, Independence Day turns deadly in Orange Walk as one man is chopped to death following the carnival. Dead body of male person found on the Champine Ridge Road in Orange Walk. Police suspect it's also a murder. In Corozal, a woman is stabbed multiple times by her estranged common-law husband. And Prime Minister John Briceño pledges the implementation of the $5 minimum wage increase come January 1st, 2023. These are some of the stories we have for you tonight in our newscast for Thursday, September 22nd, 2022.
Internet is more than speed. That's why Centaur's Internet Express offers you wall-to-wall coverage with its Wi-Fi extender. Just plug and surf. Stay connected as you move around your home with Centaur's Wi-Fi extender. Can your internet do that?
Centaur, your kind of company.
Ever since I was a kid, I've dreamt of going to Mars. You can keep my dream alive.
Come with me. You cannot, under any circumstances, leave my room, okay? Only for 35 days.
Enjoy your favorite HBO original series and movies with Centaur, your kind of company.
Es un hecho que tu crédito dura más con Smart. Durante estos tiempos, todos buscamos cómo minimizar nuestros gastos y ahorrar a lo máximo. Con Smart, lograr esto es fácil. Es un hecho que con Smart su crédito dura más. Puede llamar de Smart a Smart y de Smart a Digital sin discriminar al proveedor, usando su crédito promocional. Mientras que con el otro proveedor solo puede usar su crédito promocional para llamar a Digital. ¿Qué significa esto? Su crédito promocional, ya que viene gratis al hacer sus recargas en temporadas de Double Ups, le otorga llamadas gratis a cualquier número nacional. Sigue con Smart y ahorra más dólares.
I met Alex on the plane. When I woke up in the morning, he was so alive.
I think they know you're lying.
Enjoy your favorite HBO original series and movies with Centaur, your kind of company.
Get her off that stage.
Enjoy your favorite HBO original series and movies with Centaur, your kind of company.
Tonight we're really late. I had so much fun since this pandemic forced us on lockdown and like my online classes and it was so stressful.
Oh my God.
And I bet you're glad that you finally get out.
Yes, that's true. And that girl, you may let loose. I never did expect that from you. Oh, Melanie.
Well defended again by Beverly.
Everyone, this is a nice one.
George the drive and the finish. Posting up Marcus Morris.
My gosh. Look like Kobe hit him real hard. My gosh, Melanie. Now you the top. You see what I mean? The married life. She can even enjoy her friends like in a peace.
Mind your business. Someday you might find a great guy too.
Exactly. Well, I still kind of have a crush on his cousin. Oh, no, remember the one where I danced with at the wedding?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, well, I would have go fall up down with tea any day. Anyways, when the gun cause enough trouble for one night, make her walk on her out. Alright. No, I believe I have to go to that place at 5 o'clock tomorrow. Bye. Bye.
Hey, morning. Morning. Your friend Melanie bring this for you on the way to work? Check it. Check it. You have to be more appreciative. You got some nice friend. And remember, nothing never happened last night, right? Right?
I love you, Jack. You have to do this for you. There's nothing to fear but fear itself. Your future self will thank you.
No. I need help.
During the COVID-19 pandemic, women and girls were at the highest risk of suffering domestic violence. Domestic violence involves violence between any member of the same household. It can happen to females or males, young or old. However, the evidence has shown that women and girls face the greatest risk. That risk has heightened due to the impacts of the pandemic, including job losses, mounting stress, and restrictions to movement and recreation. We can all help to combat violence against women and girls during the COVID-19 pandemic. Just like Melanie did, you can reach out to someone who is struggling and help them to find a way out. It is never easy, but together we can fight this. Belize will not be safe until its women are safe. Secure Belize.
I'm always on the go, and the country is my home. So when I want to get away from it all, I immerse myself with my favorite movies, all from the new Smart Stream app. It's easy to use this service. Purchase your movies from the app and use your mobile data, Smart Stream data packages, or smart broadband to stream and enjoy. Be like me and stream on the go with Smart Stream.
Ever since I was a kid, I dreamt of going to Mars. You can keep my dream alive.
Come with me. You cannot, under any circumstances, leave my room, okay? Only for 35 days.
Enjoy your favorite HBO original series and movies with Centaur, your kind of company.
I met Alex on the plane. When I woke up in the morning, he was so alive.
I think they know you're lying.
Enjoy your favorite HBO original series and movies with Centaur, your kind of company.
Get her off that stage.
Enjoy your favorite HBO original series and movies with Centaur, your kind of company.
Jackie, let's go for ice cream. And remember, if your mom hear about this, Emil get her share too. Hey, Jack. How about you and Uncle Jay pair a little game?
No, Uncle, I don't like your games.
Well, that means I'll have to start playing with little Amy then.
No, not Amy. I'll play with you.
That's my baby girl.
Sexual violence against children can cause lifelong harm and suffering, which may often be hidden. Too many survivors of sexual violence are re-victimized, even by the very people who are supposed to love and protect them. The restrictions put into effect during the COVID-19 pandemic made it even more challenging for people to report acts of sexual violence. It is never too late to speak up and to seek help you or a loved one may need. Sexual violence may breed a vicious cycle of domestic violence, and its effects can span generations. Girls who experience sexual violence as children are also at higher risk of staying in situations of domestic violence. Belize will not be safe until its women are safe. Secure Belize.
Speed. Everyone wants more. Internet is more than speed. That's why Centar's Internet Express offers you wall-to-wall coverage with its Wi-Fi extender. Just plug and surf. Stay connected as you move around your home with Centar's Wi-Fi extender. Can your internet do that?
Centaur, your kind of company.
Ever since I was a kid, I dreamt of going to Mars. You can keep my dream alive.
Come with me. You cannot, under any circumstances, leave my room, okay? Only for 35 days.
Enjoy your favorite HBO original series and movies with Centaur, your kind of company.
Es un hecho que tu crédito dura más con Smart. Durante estos tiempos, todos buscamos cómo minimizar nuestros gastos y ahorrar a lo máximo. Con Smart, lograr esto es fácil. Es un hecho que con Smart su crédito dura más. Puede llamar de Smart a Smart y de Smart a Digital sin discriminar al proveedor, usando su crédito promocional, mientras que con el otro proveedor solo puede usar su crédito promocional para llamar a Digital. ¿Qué significa esto? Su crédito promocional, ya que viene gratis al hacer sus recargas en temporadas de Double Ups, le otorga llamadas gratis a cualquier número nacional. Sigue con Smart y ahorra más dólares.
Good evening with your news, also simulcast on Fiesta FM 106.7. I am Joanna Rodriguez. There were 2 deadly incidents reported over the Independence Day holiday here in Orange Walk District. The first played out shortly after 8 p.m. on Independence Day, just as the Carnival Road March was ending, and residents were still gathered across the town as the celebrations continued. The incident played out in this area on the Belize Corozal Road, where a machete-wielding man pounced on Belize City resident 43-year-old Bernard Timmons, inflicting several chop wounds to his neck. The entire ordeal was reportedly captured on surveillance cameras in the area, which we understand shows the exact moments when Timmons was attacked. Reports are that the incident was because of an earlier altercation between Timmons and two other individuals. Bernard is said to have been standing in this area here when he was approached by one of the individuals who was armed with a machete, who then proceeded to chop him across the neck. These bloodstains on the ground marked the spot where he fell. Until this morning, police were still not clear on the circumstances surrounding this latest murder. However, charges are expected against one individual who tonight remains in police custody.
The nature surrounding this incident has not been released to me as yet. I know that the investigators are saying that they were briefed that a fight took place at that location where I told you on the Police Corozal Road, but it has nothing to do with the actual Orange Walk Carnival. They are saying this is this incident took place a little distance away from where the carnival event was being held. And this person had several injuries to his neck and succumbed to his injuries minutes after being transported to the Northern Regional.
Timmons is a resident of Neil Penn Road in Belize City and had traveled to Orange Walk to enjoy the Independence Day festivities. Timmons was an employee of the National Library Service. Today, his colleagues say the news of his sudden death came as a complete shock, as the library assistant was known to be friendly and never problematic.
Well, I got the news this morning about 7:30, and I was like, "You serious for real? Can't, not Mr. Timmons, you know." So when my staff called and told me, I was like, "Timmons, but that's not him, you know." So I hung up the phone and I like sit there and, Timmons, what could he have done? Why would anyone want to harm him, you know? Very quiet person, always by himself. I mean, even here at work, you know, sometimes you're like, "Mr. Timmons, you okay?" And he just sit right there and, what are you going to do, you know? Like, so I'm just shocked when I heard it this morning, really shocked. Honestly, everybody is like shocked, you know, like, you know, I just like, Timmons, you know, and the person, the Miss Mara Scott that gave me the information this morning, second, she was like, "Mr. Barrow," and then she started to cry when she told me, you know, so everybody we're just shocked right now, just in a quiet mood, you know. Honestly, if I was the chief, I would say, man, just go home and, you know, let everybody just relax, because we've been around him and, you know, it's just hurtful to hear that this morning and to continue work during the course of the day with that in your mind. It's hard, but we got to do it.
Timmons, according to Chief Librarian Glenford Barrera, was first employed as a security guard and slowly worked his way to library assistant, where he excelled for several years.
He's a library assistant here, and he works in the children area. And of lately, he's been reading with the kids, you know, reading for them and entertain them. Again, that wasn't the type of person he is, and for some reason, his supervisor convinced him, and he worked, and, you know, he just get involved. Quietly as he was, he just get involved. He started as the security, and then he like, "Mr. B, I would want to do what them girls are doing." And, you know, so I spoke to Ms. Joy at the time, the chief librarian, and he said, "Well, okay, let him go in technical service and see what he can do." And so he just get along, and gradually he like reading. He do a lot of artwork. And that's what he had contributed to the library, you know, like when we have displays, and so he would do the artwork, the drawing, and that's what he's good at. And he really contributed in that way to the library.
And recently he did a reading for the children.
Yeah.
So what was that like?
Well, to me, that was amazing. You know, when Shakira told me what he did, because I didn't see it, right? But when I saw the video, you know, I was like, wow, Timmons. And I was just recently here for literacy. I think it was Literacy Day, you know, and it was interesting. I'm like, wow, Timmons. And he's like, "Mr. Barrera, you know I can do it." I say, "Yes, that's what I always wanted you to do." show what, you know, rather than just sit in your own little quiet corner. But it was amazing what he did. I really enjoyed it.
At this time, Orange Walk police have one person detained in connection with Bernard Timmons' brutal murder. Charges are expected sometime on Friday. Orange Walk police are also investigating what appears to be a second murder in Orange Walk. This time, the victim has been identified as 50-year-old Sergio Giovanni Valdez, a fish vendor of an unknown address. Valdez's body was found at around 6 this morning on the Champine Ridge Road. He was found seen without shirt and suffering from several injuries to the face. Head of Communications for the Office of the Commissioner of Police, ASP Fitzroy Yearwood, told the media today investigators are canvassing the scene, hoping to find clues that could solve this latest case.
It's a body of a fish vendor in Champine Ridge Road. This body was found sometime after 6 this morning. He have some injuries on him, and he has since been identified as I'll tell you, Giovanni. It's Sergio Giovanni Valdez, 50 years old, fish vendor. His address is unknown at this time, but we have our investigators in that area from since the body was found earlier, and they're trying to canvass to see what information they can pick up. Yes, police officers on the scene are saying that they have physical injuries to the face.
Yearwood said that the preliminary report did not indicate any state of decomposition. While this could imply that the body was placed there recently, Yearwood said police will await the formal report from investigators. Across the country, Belizeans celebrated Belize's Independence Day with patriotism and civic pride following 2 years of subdued celebrations due to restrictions associated with COVID-19. As part of the celebrations, government officials, dignitaries, and other invited guests journeyed to Bamapan on Wednesday, where an official ceremony was held in commemoration of the 41st anniversary of Belize's political freedom. Among the speakers this year was opposition leader Shine Barrow, who delivered his maiden speech as head of his party. Barrow delivered his address prior to Prime Minister John Briceño, who focused his attention on the work his party has been able to accomplish post-COVID-19, while also highlighting serious commitments Belizeans can expect in the near future.
In January, the $5 hour minimum wage will be implemented. It is why the introduction of free secondary school education has begun at 3 major high schools on the south side of Belize City and will eventually be rolled out countrywide. It is why we continue to hand over the keys to new starter homes heavily subsidized by your government to needy Belizeans in every corner of Belize. And it is why job creation sits at the apex of importance within government's investment policy framework. That framework is off to a magnificent start with $332 million in new foreign direct investment anticipated in 2022, principally in the areas of tourism, agriculture, agro-processing, and in the BPO sector. And it is why thousands of hard-working Belizeans are now benefiting from new land grants or regularization of land titles that have been outstanding for far too long, granting land to the needy is a unique transfer of wealth and one that we are devoted to expanding. Tourism, the upmarket high-end brand, is Belize's preferred niche, and the BTB is resolved to exceed the 2019 overnight arrivals next year, 2 years ahead the global trend. And our resolve to further suppress crime and violence on our streets and in our communities has never been stronger. A new radar will help in the fight against transnational drug trafficking. New intakes to the police and defense forces will augment the already elevated cadres of law enforcement officers and expand training in prevention and prosecution is being funded. Pride, confidence, resolve. This is our mantra at 41, with large and bold across every Belizean sunrise.
Following the trend set out during the fiscal year 2021 and the first quarter of 2022, Prime Minister Briceño says Belizeans can expect a major boost in our Belizean economy.
I am confident that the 16.3% growth in GDP in 2021 and the 5.3% growth in the first quarter of 2022 is but the start of an extended surge in economic expansion and prosperity. Our focus, our insistence is that this growth be equitable across districts, focused on job-creating industry and export-oriented businesses to further fortify the Belize dollar. At present, our fixed peg is backed by well over 4 months of import cover. We are resolved to transforming the national infrastructure, not with extravagant spending that provide one-time jobs, but with targeted, prudent investments that enable product-to-market transfers and that build intra-community wealth. At present, 213.3 miles of paving construction is underway as we expand the primary road network. 239.8 miles of improved secondary roads is this year's goal, as town and village connections are prioritized. And 11 bridges are under construction, including the $30 million to be invested in the new Halover Bridge along the Philip Golson Highway.
In delivering his first Independence Day address as leader of the opposition, Shine Barrow chose to focus on what he called the political shortcomings of the government of the day, which he says has contributed to the current dire state of the country.
We faced the cripple of COVID-19 in 2020-21, a pandemic that strangled our economy, erased our middle class, stripped us of our civil liberties, strained our educational system, and wreaked havoc on our working class and poor. The Belizean people were resilient. The public officers, the heroic frontline workers, teachers, parents, all of us persevered. With no help from this government, with no real plan to govern, the PUP merely blamed everything on the UDP administration. If it rained too long or the sun was too hot, it was the UDP's fault. This government closed its eyes and hoped for the best. Worst case, they just blame everything on the UDP. Now, in 2022, COVID-19 is gone. But we are faced with a new pandemic. That is the blue virus, spread by an administration that continues to strangle our economy with lack of investor confidence, with the highest gas prices ever, which causes the highest cost of living ever, giving no room for a treasured middle class to return, driving the working class further into poverty and impoverished to inhumane standards of living. This is not the promise of independence.
And in a true stab at political campaigning, the opposition leader also went on to highlight his plans to move the country forward if given the opportunity to become Prime Minister.
As your next Prime Minister, I will not only ensure that our patriotic security forces who defend our independence, I hope that the Prime Minister is ensuring that the Guatemalans will return our flags that they stole from the Sarstoon. I will make sure that our security forces get paid more for the services they provide for our nation, and that our minimum wage does not stop at $5, but continues to increase, which will result in a stronger economy and a better quality of life for all Belizeans, realizing the promise of independence. You see, in a democracy, this is why government and officials are elected to serve the people, to put forth public policies that will make life better for the masses, not to sit on a throne in Parliament and pretend to be kings and queens who will lord over the people of Belize, but to roll up our sleeves, take off our suits, take off our ties, and get into the trenches, to toil through the day's sun and the night's twilight so that we can bring forth the promise of independence. I am the promise of independence. You, all of you listening, you are the promise of independence. From Carousel Street, Southside Belize City, to Pachacan, to Barranco, Roaring Creek, Sukuts, San Jose, Gales Point, Mascal. It is time for the promise of independence to be fulfilled.
Prime Minister John Briceño, however, did not take kindly to the party leader's politicking, which he says does not fit with the occasion of Belize's Independence Day celebrations.
It's important for me to start off by apologizing in behalf of the Belizean people for the embarrassing performance of the leader of the opposition. Independence Day is a day where we should, despite our differences, we can come together as a people. This is a day that we forget differences, forget different colors, and that we celebrate as Belizeans. And then tomorrow, if you want to fight, then let us fight tomorrow. But this day, especially in the presence of visitors from all over the world, I think it does not speak well for the leader of the opposition. There are so many things that he said wrong, but not just one. Mr. Leader, if you would have called him foreign minister, he would have informed you that the Belizean flag is at the embassy of Belize. So.
Coming up next, a 35-year-old woman is nearly stabbed to death in San Narciso. Stay tuned.
What is Amnesty 2022? An opportunity for undocumented immigrants living in Belize. Belize wants to help you to live freely and continue contributing to those communities you and your family now call home by offering a pathway to permanent residency. Why should you apply? In doing so, you remove barriers and reduce the difficulties faced living as an undocumented immigrant. Applying is easy. Go online to www.immigration.gov.bz for more information. Find out if you qualify, how to apply, what documents you need, and how to book your appointment. Be prepared. The registration period will be from the 2nd of August to the 30th of November 2022. Belize Amnesty 2022. Let's continue to build Belize together.
Browse and win with Centaur's September sweepstake. Every customer that updates their account to the month of September enters the sweepstake to win $3,000 cash. That's $3,000 for each branch. Make your summer more epic by becoming a lucky winner of Centaur's $3,000 September sweepstake. Prizes to be drawn on October 7th on the Despierta Belize Morning Show. Centaur's September sweepstake. Get in it to win it.
A woman from the village of San Narciso in Corozal is tonight clinging to life at the Northern Regional Hospital after she was stabbed multiple times by her estranged common-law husband, who is now on the run. 35-year-old Kenya Villamil and Myron Palencia, 35-year-old Belizean truck driver of Buena Vista Village in the Toledo district, lived together for 4 years until 8 months ago when Villamil decided to leave Palencia after being in an abusive relationship. Upon the separation, Villamil remained in San Narciso while Palencia returned to Buena Vista to live with his parents. While they don't have any children together, Villamil and Palencia stayed in communication due to the good relationship that Villamil's son had with Palencia. While Villamil's family constantly asked her to cut all ties with Palencia, she did not pay heed, and it almost cost her her life. Last night at around 11 p.m., Villamil was at home when she received a call from Palencia asking her to meet him behind the San Narciso Polyclinic. Little did Villamil know that talking was the last thing Palencia had in mind.
Él siempre ha usado una excusa, que es su hijo de ella, que él es mi varón, que el niño necesita aquí, que yo le llevo, pero es solo una excusa. Pero cuando se llegó a las circunstancias, yo le advertí a mi hermana, no hagas que este muchacho venga aquí porque tú sabes que ya no es una buena ficha, por favor. Yo y mi hermana estábamos ayer juntas en el parque todo el día. Yo le dije, hermana, espérame, yo me voy contigo a tu casa. Pero como que ella lo presentía y ella andaba como alocada que se quería ir para su casa. A la 1 de la mañana me cae una llamada del hospital que mi hermana está en el hospital, en muy graves condiciones. Por lo que me informaron, solo eran 9 puñaladas. Pero yo al llegar aquí con mi mamá, el doctor nos dice que mi hermana tiene 14 puñaladas. 6 en su pescuezo, 1 cerca de su corazón y los demás en sus sides. Pero lo que ella me contó hace poquito, que cuando llegamos, porque ella todavía está hablando, me dijo, hermana, ese perro me quiso matar. Hermana, me puñalaba mi pescuezo y me metía su dedo, mi hermana. Eso me dolió. Ella me contó que él la llamó como entre las 11:30, 12 de la noche. Le dijo, quiero hablar contigo. Por favor, salí. Pero dijo ella que no le escuchó con ningún mal forma, ningún gesto, ni nada. Ok, yo vengo. Ella agarró su bicicleta y fue a la entrada donde ella vive. Fue cuando él lo citó atrás de la clínica. Y al estando atrás, ya le dijo ahí acá nadie te va a encontrar, perra. Ahora sí te voy a hacer lo que te voy a hacer. Y ahí fue que actuó él.
According to the victim's sister, Nade Williams, Palencia was in the company of another individual when he committed the atrocious act.
Ella me dijo que los dos, estando ahí, él le dijo al muchacho, dile a esa perra qué le va a pasar hoy. Dile cómo yo la voy a dejar. Tú no vas a hacer nada, pero tú vas a ser mi testigo, cómo yo la voy a dejar. Al estar juntos, nosotros, ayer no me dijo nada, pero ella tiene amistades en México y la muchacha me contactó solo en la mañana. Me dijo que ella estaba recibiendo amenazas del muchacho anteriormente, que fue ayer en la tarde antes de irse, pero como por eso estaba huyendo ella, porque nosotros lo miramos en el parade, pero ella todo el día estuvo conmigo, ella no estaba tomando nada porque estaba en un medicamento. Ya cuando ella me dijo eso, pero mi hermana te dijo eso a ti, que él lo estaba amenazando, me dijo que sí. Y entonces, ¿por qué no llamó a la policía? Una amenaza no lo tomaste solo así.
While she was left for dead, Via Mills somehow managed to make it to the highway, and that's where she found assistance. She was taken to the Corozal Community Hospital and later transported to the Northern Regional Hospital, where she remains tonight in a stable condition but suffering from life-threatening injuries. For Via Mills' family, she is lucky to be alive because while Palencia had already physically attacked and harassed her before, they never believed that he would end up stabbing her.
Eso no es la primera vez. Ya esta es la tercera vez. Que la primera vez hizo reporte. Él se entró a su casa cuando estaban juntos. Se robó todo de su casa. Ya después, la segunda vez, lo hicieron reporte otra vez. Lo hicieron un restraining order al muchacho. Pero no sé esta vez qué pasó porque no estaban juntos ya. Pero él siempre le ha dicho, si no estás conmigo o no estás conmigo. Una de las dos cosas.
¿El restraining order ya se había vencido?
Ya se había vencido.
¿Y nunca regresó ella para...?
Nunca regresó ella a hacerlo nuevamente porque ella, todos el policía ya le había dicho que no se preocupara, que ellos ya lo tienen al tanto, a la vista y tanto así, se sentía bien ella.
¿Había llegado hasta ese extremo anteriormente o nada más eran golpes?
Solo eran golpes, rasguñones, la ahorcaba y cosas así.
And for those women who remain in an abusive relationship, Williams has these words of advice.
Yo que le quería decir a todas las mujeres que si sufren un abuso, puede ser físico, mental, emocional, no se caen, hablen, porque hoy en día los hombres solo nada más quieren convertirse en una oveja blanca para hacer las maldades que quieren hacer después de que ya rompió la relación, ¿me entiende? Y eso no se lo deseo a ninguna mujer.
Information reaching Ctv3 News is that Palencia has been sighted in the village of Guinea Grass. It is believed he may be trying to exit the country through Botes, Quintana. When we left you on Tuesday, the avian influenza identified in Belize a few weeks ago had already infected 3 farms here in the north, 2 in the community of Blue Creek, where some 24,000 birds were sacrificed at Farm 1, 1,500 birds at Farm 2, and 1 farm in Shipyard where 4,000 birds were depopulated. Since the identification of the virus in these farms, the Belize Agriculture Health Authority, BAHA, and the Ministry of Agriculture have been carrying out a vigorous epidemiological investigation. That move has led to the identification of 5 other farms that have been diagnosed with the antibodies of the virus. According to Dr. Miguel De Paz, the director of the Animal Health Department at BAHA, So far, 58 farms have been tested, and those that resulted positive for the antibodies are under quarantine.
Currently, we are doing massive surveillance in Blue Creek and Shipyard, and that surveillance have yielded some positive at eight farms, 7 in Blue Creek and 1 in Shipyard. But I need to let the public know what is a positive. What is a positive? We say we have a positive when we can fully identify the virus and when the World Organization of Animal Health Reference Laboratory has made the diagnosis on PCR. Hence, we have not reached at that point, and our actions that to control and quickly eradicate is that in the event yes, indeed, we have the disease. We have submitted samples to that reference laboratory, to the World Organization of Animal Health Reference Laboratory. It's the National Veterinary Services Laboratory in Ames, Iowa, United States of America. And they have run PCR tests on samples that we submitted from the same farm, however, at a later date. All right, we had previously submitted to the University of Georgia, and these samples now to that reputable laboratory from the World Organization for Animal Health has given us results on PCR, and they were negative. They were negative. We expected those results to be negative because time had elapsed. Time had elapsed, and as you may all know that you have, when you have a viral infection, you have viremia for a period of time, and eventually the virus no longer circulates in the organism, and you would have the antibodies. So our laboratory here in Belize is picking up the antibodies. The PCR laboratory in the United States did not pick up the virus as expected, and is yet to submit to us the results on the antibodies. I have been in constant contact with that laboratory, and it's pointing toward negativity on those antibodies results.
To ensure that the virus is indeed not circulating in these farms, several measures are being taken.
We have placed sentinel birds in at least one farm that we have depopulated. So we have sentinel birds there. If the environment is indeed contaminated with the virus, these virus should be affecting these birds, and we could run PCR tests locally and internationally with the same reference laboratory. It is in that point in time when that reference laboratory can subtype the virus for us and also indicate the pathogenicity, because even influenza has a range of pathogenicity, being divided into low pathogenicity and high pathogenicity. More so you want to take more stringent measures when indeed you know it's highly pathogenic. So we are not there yet, and if indeed it is there, we are believing that we are dealing with a low pathogenic virus. Highly pathogenic virus, you would have high mortality. High mortality, the reason why the virus is named highly pathogenic avian influenza. The birds in Blue Creek, we're not having a high mortality.
Currently, measures taken to avoid the spread of the virus include the population of birds from affected farms, cleaning and disinfecting of these farms, checkpoints to control the movement of poultry and poultry products from affected farms, and increased surveillance in communities where there is a presence of the disease. These measures, however, could be modified since all indications suggest a low pathogenicity of the virus. For their part, the Belize Poultry Association has submitted a number of proposals to BAHA and the Ministry of Agriculture to assist in the containment of the virus.
Under that proposal, it calls for
the hatchery in Blue Creek being totally shut down and disinfected for 1 week. If we go that route, then that will have repercussions down the cycle of the production of poultry products for Belize. We'll be looking at a downtime further in November, because a shutdown in 1 week will reverberate way into November. Because even though it's a week, and some people might be wondering, well, it's a week, but yeah, it's a week with no hatchlings being put out by the hatchery. And therefore, farmers in the production cycle will be set back. And we also need to understand that the barns that should have been receiving those chicks will be set back. One of the other decisions that we have made yesterday was to have all the barns being cleaned out and disinfected. We're taking no chances. As Dr. DePaz said, we still don't have the serotyping from NVSL as yet, but we are not taking any chances. We're looking at this potential problem as a very serious problem, and therefore we'll be having all the barns, I'm not talking about only the infected barns, all the barns in the Blue Creek community will be disinfected, and we will decontaminate all tools and equipment. And basically what we're looking at is the 4 Ds of controlling this disease, which is, as Dr. DePaz have said, diagnosis, diagnosis, diagnosis. And after that, if they are positive, then we depopulate. And if they are not positive, they're negative, then we do a control marketing strategy whereby those birds will go to the slaughter and will be offered for sale to the public, and they will be safe to eat.
It is expected that by December 1st, all barns should be disinfected and decontaminated. And while the processing plant in Blue Creek will be shut down for 3 weeks in November, a shortage of poultry products is not expected.
If we proceed with this plan, the plant will be shut down for 3 weeks in November, because there will be no birds to be processed. And we check with our industry in the other side of town, which is Spanish Lookout, and they have assured us that there will be enough poultry products in the market from that end. So Belize not worry about a shortage. Currently, when I met with them, they assured me that we have currently 80,000 fertile eggs in overproduction at Spanish Lookout, so that those 80,000 fertile eggs can go into the hatchery, and they can be shipped to the other areas that are not contaminated, so that those other areas ramp up production as well. So we're trying to look at all the possible scenarios and all the possible gains for the industry, notwithstanding the negative effects of this virus. And I think we'll be ready. If there will be a shortage, it will be very, very minimal at most, because we are blessed in a sense that we do have that 80,000 overproduction of fertile eggs in Spanish Lookout. Those eggs were scheduled to be destroyed, but fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know, with the virus came, and now we can salvage those eggs. We can use them, and we will continue that production schedule with the Spanish Lookout hatchery, and they will be producing for the rest of the country that is not contaminated.
And if you are still wondering if the poultry currently found in the local market is good for consumption, today Dr. Natalie Gibson, Deputy Director of Food Safety at Baja, reiterated that it is, since there is no evidence that shows that the virus is transmitted to humans via consumption.
The virus doesn't survive cooking, wouldn't survive our digestion system, but in any case, as a precautionary approach, we know that the birds are being tested. We have inspectors stationed at the slaughterhouses. That's just routine. And so there is really no risk to the public that they should be concerned about the safety of the poultry.
The National Meteorological Service of Belize is monitoring an area of low pressure that is currently disorganized but could develop into a tropical depression, storm, or even a hurricane. Computer models predict the system will become a tropical storm in the Caribbean by this weekend, and if it becomes a storm, it will be named Hermine.
We are closely monitoring what has become an area of low pressure just north of South America, near the ABC Islands. The system has a high chance of becoming a tropical depression within the next 2 to 5 days as it moves generally to the west-northwest across the eastern Caribbean Sea and enters the central Caribbean Sea. Currently, the system is disorganized as there is strong upper-level winds over it at the moment, preventing it from becoming organized and developing. Those upper-level winds are causing what we call high wind shear, basically disrupting the thunderstorms from forming a closed circulation. However, all indications are that the wind shear is going to weaken as the system enters the central Caribbean Sea, and therefore it will have a better chance of becoming a tropical depression, as I mentioned previously. Now, in terms of the track, it is moving to the west-northwest. Eventually, will move a bit more to the west. And then the forecast becomes quite divergent in about 3 or 4 days after it enters the Northwest Caribbean Sea. Some of the models take the system towards the northern Yucatan Peninsula, north of Belize, by the way, while others take it farther away from the country towards the western tip of Cuba. Therefore, given that there's a widespread in these models, it indicates that there's a high level of uncertainty at the moment. And the reason for this is because you don't have a closed circulation, you don't have a low for the model to track. After the system has developed and become a tropical depression, we will have more confidence of where it will go because the models will be able to track it better.
For now, the advice to the public is to rely on official information from the Met Service.
If there's a need for an advisory, that will be done in conjunction with NEMO. We are not there yet. There's not even a depression out there at the moment. It's an area of low pressure, currently disorganized, but most of the forecast models indicate that it will develop into likely a tropical depression, a storm, or even a hurricane. September and October are the 2 months where we do have more tropical cyclone activity heading in our direction. Historically speaking, most of the tropical storms and hurricanes that have affected Belize or made landfall on the country have occurred in these 2 months. So yes, the system is basically following that trend, whereby at this time of the year, we have systems coming nearer to us. That does not, again, indicate that this particular system will make direct landfall on Belize. However, it is tracking in the general direction where we expect systems to do at this time of the year.
While conditions are clearing up, the development of more showers is expected, according to Chief Meteorologist Ronald Gordon.
Mostly along coastal parts of the country tonight into tomorrow morning. And then on Friday night, we're going to see heavier activity, kind of similar to what we had last night. That's what we're seeing. Typically, the pattern is that we're going to be having these showers mostly at nighttime into early morning. And then by the afternoon hours, you're going to see more sunshine and clearer skies. So that's the pattern that we expect going into the weekend. The system that we are talking about in terms of the tropical system is nowhere near us to be impacting our weather at the moment. If it does impact our weather, it will do so around Tuesday of next week. So the timeline for that system to be near us to have any sort of impact would be around Tuesday. And I must repeat, we do not know what that impact will be at the moment. It all depends on how close it comes to us.
Today, Her Excellency Dame Froila Zalam, Governor General of Belize, accepted the letter of credence from His Excellency Mr. Anders Bengtsson, Ambassador of the Kingdom of Sweden to Belize. Ambassador Bengtson shared greetings to the people and government of Belize on behalf of his country and expressed hopes for the strengthening of the relationship between both countries. The Governor General graciously welcomed the ambassador and wished him well during his tenure as ambassador to Belize. And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Friday, September 23rd, here on Ctv3 and Fiesta FM 106.7. Remember that to read a text version of the news, you can visit our website at ctv3belizenews.com. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at facebook.com/ctv3belizenews or our YouTube channel at Ctv3 News BZ. Remember to wash your hands and remain safe. We leave you with images of the 21st fireworks and parade here in Orange Walk. From all of us here at Ctv3 News, thank you for watching and listening. Good night.
Let us come together in harmony. Let us unite, one family. Let us get up and stand strong for all of we. My land by the sea, my land so free. I am Belize, you are Belize, he is Belize, she is Belize, we're all Belize. I am Belize, you are Belize, he is Belize, we're all Belize.
It starts with us, so let us try. Nothing to lose, we jump by our side. I'm here for you, be there for me. Let's change our mentality.
Let's unite and inspire the world into values in boys and girls. Let's improve our belief by improving ourselves. I cannot do it myself. Let's come together in harmony. Let us unite, one family. Let us get up and strong, all that we. My land by the sea, my land so free.
I am Belize, you are Belize, he is Belize, she is Belize, we're all Belize. I am Belize, you are Belize, he is Belize, we're all Belize. The call has come today to take responsibility for our future's sake. My people stand up and pave the way. Together we can find a cure.
Let us start with courtesy, with respect and honesty. Let's restore our belief by improving ourselves. I cannot do it I hope I said something to you that must have inspired you. So every culture, everyone, grab your neighbor by the hand. Let us use some positivity and get rid of the negativity. Let us fight for our nation, 'cause we all believe all we can pray for is peace.
Vamos unidos en armonía, juntos y unidos, una sola familia.
Levantémonos y paramos fuerte para todos nosotros. Mi tierra cerca del mar, mi tierra libre. Yo soy Belize, tú eres Belize, él es Belize, ella es Belize, todos estamos Belize. Yo soy Belize, tú eres Belize, él es Belize, ella es Belize. I love this country, can't believe. I love my people, that's what inspires me. Well, I wanna be all I can be, cause I know that's what inspires me. I will prepare myself for the future, that's what I have to do. Achieve my goals, accomplish